I should be going live any second now. Yes, I guess I'm live. Hi, guys. Yankee Team News with the world famous CSNE, as in Common Sense News and Entertainment. Jason is still kind of getting ready over there, but
and we are just about ready. Going live on Facebook. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody.
Yeah. So.
Oh, here we are live again on Facebook and on eventually, hopefully, on YouTube and everything else. It is we are live on YouTube with Cor Ratnowski and Yankee Team News here on Thursday, May the 21st. Another very important edition, actually, as things get more and more important as we go along. By the way, I sent you our logo a little while ago.
Okay, but what about the roster?
The roster. Did you call her Selena last night?
No, I didn't. I thought you said you were going to send it.
Tisk. I'll ask her about it if you want.
What? She has the roster.
She has you mean for the debate?
No, there's your contacts, your 150 some contacts.
Oh, the name roster. That is on the login. That's what I got to get you. Let me write that down.
Yes.
And I want to get that to Ryan Blade to see that too. I want to distribute that to people. Okay. Today we did 16 stops, so I've accomplished a lot.
16
stops between JBD and CSNE, by the way.
Today,
yeah. Including meeting the guy at Starbucks.
Calculate. That's like 2 an hour?
It was about 2 an hour. I was gone for 7.5 hours, so just a little over 2 an hour.
That seems like, wow. Good planning and all that other good stuff.
A lot of planning. I did it last night. So it started off in Hartford at the Hartford Police Department.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's another Hartford business attempt. Then West Hartford. Then Naugatuck.
Okay.
And then I met a client for a lawyer in Waterbury and started I have a lawyer I do case intake for.
Okay.
So once they get them signed up, I go down there and do all the retainer forms and everything. Did that.
Well, that's isn't that a different price?
Yeah, that's my investigative work. It's the same hourly rate, same mileage charge. But just the functioning is a little different. I take in the case, I get the story. It's mostly slip and fall car accidents.
I see.
And I get the whole story of the accident. It's not just you get the whole story of the accident, what happened, and then the lawyer trusts me to come back to them. They've talked to the client, of course, as well. And I usually this particular lawyer asks my opinion about whether I think it's a viable case or not. I think that's cool.
Yes, that is. Right.
Because it's an honest, good lawyer, honestly, that I work for. All my clients are honest, good clients. We're stickler on ethics here, and they actually care about their clients, and they want to know, they'll care about their own butts too. They don't want to look like morons in court for some slip and fall case that isn't viable.
Of course,
right? Nobody wants to be these guys, despite what the public might think. Most lawyers don't want to be ambulance chasers. They want legitimate cases where they can help their clients. There are some pretty shady lawyers out there, no doubt about it, but by and large, they're not.
Yes, well, people make fun of ambulance chasers.
Sure, it's used car salesmen. They all get the butt of the jokes and whatnot.
Right. So
private investigators get it. If police officers, it's a love-hate thing. They either hate private investigators or they love private investigators.
Okay.
There's really very little in between. The ones that hate them feel like because usually private investigators work on the behalf of the defense attorney, which is would be an opposite of what they're trying to do. People will say, well, how can you work for murderers and stuff like that and their attorneys? And, doesn't that make you a bad person or whatever? My answer is no. We're just trying to be thorough and get all the facts. So if this bastard did this crime, he has nothing to appeal on. Right? Let's cover everything. And if for some reason they're wrong and the guy's innocent, for God's sake, someone's got to go in and help the guy out, right?
Yeah.
Like the police go, here's what happens. There's a crime, terrible crime, rape, murder, whatever.
Yeah.
Police come in, they sweep the area, cordon it off, do investigation, and it takes 2 or 3 days, and they come up with pretty much who they think, if they can come up with it, who they think did it, right? And then at that point, it's all about throwing the book at that person. And they're on to the next street fighter, the next problem, right?
Okay.
They're overwhelmed with it.
Right. So my issue is with prosecutorial abuse.
Well, what happens is they aren't able to, in their defense, it's too much for them to, they just do what they can do for the time being until they come up with a person, and then they kind of have to move on. They can't spend time taking a real totally scientific look at the case because there's just too many of them.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think. And so if you do get charged with a crime that you haven't committed, or you're being overcharged for something that's lesser or whatever it is, make sure you have a lawyer that is willing to hire an investigator on your behalf. Because a lot of lawyers will not use investigators. They just go by the law. They're shortcutting it.
Oh.
A lawyer who refuses to use an investigator, don't hire that lawyer. Unless you did it. If you're guilty, then screw you anyway. I don't care what you do.
Mm-hmm.
But if you've been accused of something you didn't do.
All right. I'm going back to my earlier point again.
Okay.
Prosecutorial abuse.
Right. What happens is the prosecutor, once they get the case, they believe what the police say, and that's it. Now, abuse, that does result in prosecutorial abuse.
Yes.
Because they're not willing to, they cheat. They lie and cheat and do whatever they can to make their case work.
Well, why don't they get
winning? It's all about winning. It becomes about winning and losing. I always say, why can't court system be set up so both sides work together to get to the truth? That's what I think. I know that, I don't know. You can still honor somebody's rights to their defense and still come up with people who are guilty can get away with a lot because of it's good to have these rights, but our laws are designed to protect those very few people that might be innocent that got accused of something they didn't do.
Very few.
It is very few.
You mean 96%
of the time? 96% of the time that the police arrest somebody for a crime, they got the right guy. The other 4 is what we worry about. Mm-hmm. Now, sometimes it's by accident, sometimes it's deliberate, like John Flynn, right?
Yes. Well, so what do we do when it's deliberate?
That's where the rubber meets the road.
Okay.
And the police, the culture among police officers is toxic. They will not rat each other out almost no matter what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Because nobody wants to be a rat. I grew up in the neighborhood. I know being a rat ain't a cool thing. But when somebody innocent is getting hurt and you've been hired by the public, you pay every cop lives off taxpayer money.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
You're living off taxpayer money. You damn well better be fair with the taxpayers. And if you're not, then shame on you.
Mm-hmm.
What happens is the guys that are trying to be fair work right alongside the ones that are not. And what do? They see it. They don't really do anything about it.
Well, let me give you.
Einstein said, it's not the 10% evil people that ruin the world. It's the 60% good people that just sit back and don't let it happen.
Right.
They're the ones to blame. They're the ones with the most responsibility. There's more of us.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's the same thing within the inner sanctum of the police force.
Mm.
These guys just let people get away with everything, and shouldn't be. That's a situation where I don't like rats either, but there are situations where you should rat.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have a cop abusing someone and framing somebody for something they didn't do, that should be exposed. And
well, how common is framing?
I think it's a little more, it's funny you say that. I could tell you framing is not separate. I don't think framing, deliberate, like planning drugs and stuff like that, something that happens a lot.
Yes.
But it does happen too much, frequently enough to.
Yes, communist framing.
They use it to get, you know what they do? Police use it for? They use it to get guys that they know are trouble, that are breaking little laws, they can't quite pin it on because of the legal standards. So they'll plant drugs on that individual to get rid of that individual, get them off the street.
Yeah.
And sometimes I can't help but think, good move, because this guy has already caused so much problems, and and he's using lawyers to stay around it. So the framing is never right. It's never right. But at the same time, like
as far as I'm concerned, it's never right. Anyway,
it's never right. But
so let's just we still got to get to the stuff on AI. But Eric
let's get to the AI.
Well, but Eric has chimed in here by saying.
The last point I want to make about this, though, is it's important to thoroughly investigate big crimes crimes with victims.
Yes.
On the behalf of both the defense and the prosecution.
Yes.
Because if you don't, even if it means you go to bat for the defense, you're actually trying to make sure the case is thorough, and so that the defense has no basis for appeal. So a guy who commits rape and murder won't get back out.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, let's talk about AI, because that's the end of the world.
But we think
talk about the end of the world.
All right.
Okay.
Just want to mention here, Eric has suggested that Betsy should petition.
Petition for what?
To to be in a primary against Ryan Fazio.
Yeah, to get the signatures, you mean?
Yeah, well, that's what he's suggesting.
I've been saying that all along too. I can't believe she dropped out. I was stunned. Honestly,
Well,
I really thought she was going to go forward
yeah.
after the convention if she didn't get the
Okay,
vote.
all right, so we've since learned that Ben Proto was screwing Betsy as well. He was causing her to lose. Let's see, how many signatures for governor? It's going to be a big number.
12,500. That was what I was told.
So, okay, yeah, and you only have so much time. You've got like 3 weeks to do it. There's a deadline.
I hope it can be done.
There's a June deadline to hand in.
It has to be in-person signatures, right?
Well, what you do, so what you're going to need is an army of people who go out soliciting signatures. One person on a good day could probably get 200 signatures, and that is a good day.
So we'll call it 150 just to be safe.
But I'm just saying, I'm just trying to sort of give a sense of the magnitude of the
You
problem.
need 100 people to get 100 signatures. That are
No,
100.
you need. So if you get 100 people getting 100 signatures,
125.
That's going to be 10,000.
You need 100 people to get 125 signatures. Then that's 12,500.
Okay, but
and it's also looking at
you're not going to get
100 per town.
No, you're lucky if you get 10 people going out to get signatures for you. Okay.
Okay, 10 signatures. If you get 10 people to dedicate themselves to helping
for 3 weeks,
I think you can do for governor campaign, then each one would have to do 10 days of 125 each.
And as simple as that sounds, it's a lot harder than it really is.
And we need 20 people to do 5 days.
Okay. I mean, I'll just tell you the story. I was helping a guy named Bob. Oh, I can't remember his last name, but he was running for Congress in the 4th District in 2010 against Jim Himes. And he got screwed at the convention, much like Betsy got screwed. But he decided to go for it. And he had a loyal following of whom I was a member. And we had to come up with, I think, 2,500 signatures in 3 weeks. And I think there was maybe 4 or 5 of us.
Yeah.
But we did it. And we even got over the minimum for him. So he got on the petition to run, but he lost.
2,500 in 3 weeks with 4 people. 4 or 5 people. Okay. So
in our
how
case,
long do we have here? We only have about 4 weeks here, I think, right?
All right. But the problem is, I don't know how many people can Betsy point to who are willing to put in the time and effort to go out and get signatures.
Okay? I would be willing to be myself to do it since it's a short period of time.
Okay, well, then you won't be earning any money.
That's
Your bills will be piling up.
Like I said, I could commit myself for a 4 or 5 week period for her.
And do nothing else.
I wouldn't say nothing else. I could commit. Now, well, what did we say? We needed someone to do 5 people to do 5 days of 125 a day.
Let's see.
So I could commit to my part.
Let's see. For the 2026 state primary,
my job to do
lots of statewide congressional petitions as issued. Yeah, fine. But we don't have them. Yes. And they're due June 9th, 4
Can
p.m.
you do it on Sundays?
What?
June 9th? Ouch.
Yes, that's what it says. That the petitions are due.
Forget it.
June 9th. So yeah, you could have started on April 28th, but she was banking on getting delegates at the convention, which unfortunately didn't quite work out.
Even if she started after the convention, we've lost a whole week almost already.
Okay, so yeah. Okay, so okay, so he says 9,799 valid signatures. All right, so
19 days. It's not even 3 weeks.
You still have to boil it down to what one person can realistically do in a day. That's your model.
Well, you said 200 was a really good day.
Yeah, from my experience,
I'm saying 150.
I mean, you're working sunrise to sunset.
Yep.
And you're going
to do 2 days a week.
You're walking the streets. You might even be knocking on doors. You're going through shopping, parking lots for us.
I bet you I could get her 1,200 signatures myself if I started tomorrow.
1,200
by doing 2 days a week, sunrise to sunset.
All right. Well, it's easy to pound your chest in this regard, but she has decided she's not going to do it.
Then why are we talking about it?
Yeah, and by the way,
Eric, why are we talking about it?
Why? Yeah. What? Well, because he helped Betsy.
Right, but
he still feels a strong attachment to her. I can understand that.
I know Betsy must have at least, considering she was running for governor, she must at least have it. Eric would know.
Yeah.
Ask Eric how many is in Betsy's inner circle that'd be willing to spend a couple of days a week from sunrise to sunset getting signatures for her.
Yeah.
Would Eric do? Can Eric do it?
Well, she has her 2 daughters. Okay.
I'm the third. Eric, what about Eric?
I don't know if Eric would or could. You know, he's her policies are the only policies that would save the state. Okay.
I agree.
Okay. But in the so this, you know, the fallback position here is to have these meetings with Ryan Fazio, where she, you know, lobbies him for her policies to see if he'll take them on.
That's not going to work. You know why? Because Fazio is Proto's second choice.
Proto's second choice.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean that Fazio likes Proto.
I didn't say he did. I said he was Proto's second choice. So doesn't mean that they're in bed together. It just means that I think they can count on Fazio to not shake things up too badly. I guess.
Well, the way I would see it is, you know, Ben Proto is a little bit like liberals. They destroy everything they touch.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so Proto destroys everything he touches.
And so I think Fazio will probably get destroyed by Proto as well.
Well, unless he has the good sense to keep him at a distance. So, but you know, Proto's going to screw with people any way he can.
And by the way, people are worried about. Everyone's all excited about Lamont being primaried, and they think Lamont's going to go down and he won't make it. Everyone's all happy about it. But don't get too excited, because the people that are ousting Lamont on the Democratic side happen to be like Mondami type of people, like even more far left than Lamont is. Like, they're scary.
Now understand that. First of all, it's unfair. Mondami was cultured and cultivated by George Soros.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you got to start there. So it's not just some pretty face who talked a lot and believed. No. Everything that needed to be done to run a successful campaign for Mondami was supported by Soros and company. All right. So you cannot compare someone like this Josh Elliott guy to Mondami, because Josh Elliott is not a Soros protege.
It doesn't matter. Ideologically,
governor.
I don't care about who funded him. The bottom line is his ideology is far left.
Okay,
far left.
You have to care about who funded him. Well, otherwise, he would not have gotten to where he is.
It doesn't negate my point, though. My point is, everybody's all excited that Lamont is being ousted by this guy, and this guy is even far more left than Lamont is, and he's no saving grace.
Yeah. All right. So Eric is suggesting we shouldn't underestimate Josh Elliott.
No.
Who knows what kinds of game playing we're going on?
Dangerous guy.
What?
He's a dangerous guy, Josh Elliott is. That's the guy that's primarying Lamont, right? The guy's going to end up running.
So I'm going to make a prediction.
Lamont's out. That's my prediction. Out. He won't even make it past the primary.
You're talking about Josh Elliott?
No, I'm talking about Lamont. I mean, Ned. Yeah, Ned Lamont. He won't make it past the primary. He's going to be out. Nope. He's going to be primaried out before he won't even make it to the general election.
Well, if I have anything to know about it, I'll be helping out. But
no, it'll be worse. It'll be far left wing Josh Elliott running against Fazio.
Yeah, 25%. All right. So I still think that's yes, that's the number that happened at the convention. I get it, but that's, in my mind, that's still a puffed up number. So yes, people are burned out on Lamont, but will Josh Elliott turn to be like Kamala Harris, which is the more you hear him, the less you like him? We don't know. Okay, but this is something you have to consider. Okay. All right. So
tell me about AI. Let's shift gears and talk about AI.
Yes, you need to keep. All right. So what am I going to do with keeping an eye on Elliott? No.
We'll have to keep on him.
I don't know. And just
it almost doesn't matter. We gotta beat the Democrats regardless of what head they're wearing.
This is putting me in a very difficult position. All right. And I'll AI. Yeah, okay. Yes.
We'll get to it.
That's right. There will be no UGO. No, what do you mean by no UGO? No AGI. Well, we'll get to that. We will get to that. All right. I think he's trying to push me to start doing the AI stuff. So let's start doing the AI stuff.
Let's do the AI stuff. Let's hear about it.
All right. So here we go.
Doomsday.
Okay.
Doomsday.
So I got two parts here.
By the way, Republicans and Democrats and Marxists and commie pigs and conservatives should all be worried about.
All right. Okay. So unfortunately, Eric, while we got it up like this, I can't read your comments, but I'll try to, as you chime in, I'll get back to it. All right. The point of this Venn diagram, all right, is to point out that there are many subsets and subsets of subsets that make up everything that people are talking about with respect to, quote, artificial intelligence. Now, these aren't necessarily to scale here in any sense. So we start with what?
Intelligence in general being larger than artificial. Okay.
Yes. So artificial intelligence is a subset of the larger subject of intelligence. Now, if it's intelligence, the subject then becomes about what we'll call biological intelligence, not just human intelligence, but biological intelligence, because there are all kinds of things to learn from the intelligence of so-called lower life forms, which is a whole other subject. So within artificial intelligence, okay, the first subset here is machine learning, okay? So machine learning, there are two components to machine learning at this stage in terms of how we understand it, but it gets more complicated. The two components are numerical computation and symbolic reasoning, okay, or symbolic computing.
Sounds like my calculus class we're going to get to here. Okay.
Okay, so symbolic computing is, by definition, non-numeric, okay? Symbolic is if-then statement. If this is true, then that's true. If that's true, then go to this place. When you go to this place, do this other thing. Then when you do that, add this up, all right? Then compare these two things. Combine these strings and separate these strings, okay? That's all, quote, logical programming. And neural networks has nothing whatsoever to do with logical programming, as I've said over and over again, and others will tell you the same thing. And just like that video you sent me, Eric, yes, I think you understand from that there is an oil and water difference between neural networks and everything else. Okay, so the part here that could use some, so I don't have a clean separation here, but all right, so here's the thing. Large language models, all right, the purple circle there, that is also neural networks. And technically speaking, large language models would be a subset of neural networks. They're not the only way to use them, all right? It's just that there were a series of research advances, especially starting in 2012, that really brought a lot of pressure onto large language models and neural networks. Okay. Now, this other circle over here, I need to make a point. Not too long ago, there was the leading researcher for LLMs. Okay. He was a French guy. He was working for Zuckerberg at Meta. Okay. About several months ago, this guy said, that's it, I'm out. Large language models will never work. Not never work. They'll never achieve the goal in question. So he left to form his own company to work on scenario development. Scenario development, which is related to virtual reality. Okay. So
have you ever used that before? Virtual reality, but like to put the mask on?
No, I've never
tried it.
I could imagine what it's like.
I tried it I tried it once. I did there was one where it was kind of like the world around me was completely unrealistic, and there was another one that was more realistic, and it was pretty interesting. And this was probably 5 or 6 years ago, so I can only imagine how advanced it is now.
Yeah. Okay. So the challenge here is that they're taking that ability to create some alternate reality, and what they have to do is embed into it logical programming, not neural networks. Okay, so this is all the scenario development is going to be all about logical programming, but in a visual or graphic setting that's supposed to resemble reality or do strange things to reality.
Okay.
But still all under the subject of machine learning. Okay, so it's another type of machine learning different from LLMs. Okay, so.
And apparently much bigger.
Sorry?
Apparently much bigger.
What's bigger?
Well, it's a larger circle for machine learning.
That's the orange circle.
Right, a much larger circle that encompasses everything else.
So these are both, these smaller circles are subsets of machine learning, and the implication, of course, is they are not the last word on what constitutes machine learning. Now, if I was going to take some time, I could break out what constitutes the whole field of machine learning, but this should give you a sense of the relative position of each of these topics to each other. Now I'm going to move to the next thing here. So let's remove you, and we're going to put this one up, and here we go again. Okay, so now we're just going to walk through this. So you've heard me bitching. I mean, numerical computation is good. It's powerful. It's useful. But what we're using right now constitutes one form. So the key word, there are actually two forms of the key word here, either counter propagation or back propagation. They're actually kind of different from each other. But I can tell you, when neural networks was a hot topic in the late 80s and early 90s, the old model was called back propagation, which was just a way of talking about repeating, doing you know what iteration means, right? I mean, repeating the calculation over and over again. All right. But what's happening is each time it comes out a little bit different. You're approximating your results. This has been the heart of neural networks. Okay. But the method of approximation is, for all intents and purposes, based on one way of thinking. And it's not necessarily the only way of thinking. But they haven't gotten to the point yet where they're ready to entertain other types of thinking, right? The brute force approach that you see now when you look at NVIDIA and CoreWeave and OpenAI and Anthropic and Claude, that's all brute force computation, okay, is still based on one model. And maybe they'll start to slip other things in along the way, but not yet.
Right.
Okay. Meantime, the other point is to keep in mind is that neural networks cannot be reverse engineered. Although, if you remember, I talked about that paper in China where they said that they might find some ways to be able to reverse engineer neural networks. We'll see.
I doubt that.
Yes, but it's a hot topic. And in fact,
has anything ever been reverse engineered before?
No. Well, what the paper showed was that there were, again, you have to think of these things as what they call toy demonstrations. They're a small model, limited capacity for demonstration.
Right.
And within that setting, they were able to say, well, given this limited small kind of problem, we can demonstrate the ability to do X. But if it becomes more complicated, they won't be able to do X. It's too much. It's too complicated. Okay. Wait. Did you ever do what was that term? Factoring?
Yeah. Factorials, factoring?
Yeah.
Yeah. In like 8th grade.
Yeah.
9th grade.
Yeah. But you were doing simple factorials.
No, we did algebra 2 as well.
Well,
when they got into those it's been a long time.
Quadratic
equation.
Yes.
That stuff used to bother me.
Oh, bother you? Well,
I was able to solve it. But
that's just it. They throw this stuff at us, and they're doing it a little too quickly, and we need to stop. There are things that we need to understand, and they didn't explain it because guess what? The teacher didn't understand it either. Just saying. Okay. Anyway,
quadratic equation is a difficult thing for people to understand unless they have a really good handle on math.
Yeah, I mean, basically, did you do the derivation for the quadratic equation?
Probably. But again, it's been 35, 40 years.
That's right. But so they would have taken us through that. We memorized it, but What do I remember?
Math was the subject that was
got two
always
answers.
math is a subject I was always very good at.
Yeah.
But I hated.
You hate it.
I hated it. However,
no,
as a teenager, as a teenager,
you would have hated the way they taught it.
Well, that's probably yes. My geometry teacher was a real jerk. But let me say this: as an adult, that was as a teenager. As an adult, I've come to appreciate it very much, and I actually like math now. I don't necessarily care about the higher advanced maths unless I need to, but as terms as algebra and arithmetic together have become very valuable for me. And statistics, by the way, probability and statistics was a course I took at MCC, which was still to this day one of the most enjoyable courses I've ever taken.
Okay, well, I share that sentiment.
Those three fields of math are gifts.
Yeah. So the thing is, so part one is, and you're touching on that, is going to touch on this over here, by the way.
And you don't need the quadratic equation or calculus unless you're going to build an airplane or something.
There are places where all these things sort of join together, just to throw one out, Fibonacci's number.
No, I don't know what that is.
What? Fibonacci's number?
What's it called? Fibonacci's number?
Fibonacci.
Number.
Okay.
What's Fibonacci number? I don't know.
Okay.
You got me again.
All right. Basically, it's a series. That's a series of numbers.
Yeah.
All right. And you have a simple rule for generating this series of numbers.
Okay.
What you do is you take two numbers and you add them together. So 0 and 1, it becomes 1. Now you do 1 plus 1, that's 2.
Yeah.
2 plus 1 is 3. Okay, 3 plus 2 is 5. 5 plus 3 is 8. 8 plus 5 is 13. And off you go. And it turns out that beautiful geometric patterns result from that simple rule. Okay. So there are many different Fibonacci series, but that would be the simplest one that I've described to you. And the thing that blows people's minds is that plant growth follows a Fibonacci series.
Interesting.
Right? And the way a seashell grows follows a Fibonacci series.
Interesting.
Okay, and so you find these different examples in different places in nature, and you have to ask yourself, why is life following a mathematical pattern? It's based on a simple rule. This is very strange. And I have to remind you, by the way, that growth is being determined by what? DNA. So it's the DNA that's capturing the Fibonacci series. This is getting very strange as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so that's something to hold on to. Now, now, so what I was trying to say here is that researchers may overcome reverse engineering, but that will not be enough to create a general intelligence, and you'll see why in a minute. Okay. So to repeat my argument, what we think of right now today as artificial intelligence still hits limits. If we're going to develop a richer, more complex artificial intelligence that approaches general intelligence, we'll have to draw more deeply on biological intelligence. So you're going to love it. We need a deeper understanding of how an ant's brain works. We need a deeper understanding of how a bee brain works. We need a deeper understanding of something else called slime molds. Have you ever seen slime molds?
No.
All right. Let me put this into perspective for you. This is my favorite digression here into the world of biology, boys and girls. Okay. There is a math problem. So here's the situation. You're driving a delivery truck, and you have to make 20 stops. So you look at your route on a piece of paper, and the question is, what is the most efficient route for me to take?
I did exactly that tonight with my 16 stops.
Are you sure?
Yeah, precisely.
Precisely. Oh, I'd love to see this.
I knew I took the best route.
Okay, well, that's called a traveling salesman problem. So you live it every day.
Well, a lot, yeah, almost every day.
So, and it's a problem that many other people live. And with telephone routing systems and how you route messages, there's a cost associated with sending a message. Okay, so
Yeah.
you by what am I trying to say? By using traveling salesman algorithms, you come up with more efficient ways to route calls in a network. And the same applies to a delivery route and anything else that involves a network where things are moving around.
Yeah, like mine today, like I described. I'll go through it real quick. It was Hartford, West Hartford, Naugatuck, Waterbury, New Britain, West Hartford, three more in Hartford, then Simsbury, then East Hartford, South Windsor, Ellington.
All right, so you're solving this in a sense empirically. I would like to see the real calculation. In other words, you have, so how many, you said 16. Did you actually make 16 stops?
I did, including the gas, 15 plus gas.
Okay, so then I would set out a map, put the points there, measure the distances, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now you go methodically through it and decide, all right, if I went 1, 5, 7, 3, 9, 12, 13.
What would be the lowest mileage and lowest distance?
Yeah, and which means something else would be the greatest. So one
another
would be very inefficient.
In my case, there's another factor that sometimes has to be added in.
Yeah.
And that is outside conveniences. In other words, the guy from New Britain wasn't going to be home from work till 7.
Yeah. Okay.
So you had to do a little bit of deviate from that to make that work.
Okay.
You know.
Okay. So all of this. So I've set it up. The traveling sales.
Our guy Sal Simsek is on. Hey, Sal.
Okay. Oh, hey, Sal. Good.
Socialists are trying to take out
He's a
techie. They already have
stuff. Stick around. Okay.
Stick around. Hang out.
Yeah.
He's saying the socialists are trying to oust Democrat and take over the Democratic Party. Sal, they've already done that.
Yeah. Yeah. Come on. Tell us
they've
something.
Already done that. Okay.
Crazy.
So anyway,
all right. Traveling right now. All right. I'm trying to make my point about biological intelligence here.
We're listening.
Okay. Traveling salesman problem. Have you appreciated the complexity associated with it?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I live it every day, like I said.
Okay, look up slime molds. They are what they seem. They are molds, fungi, right?
Okay.
They're not bacterial. I have to double check. In any event, so it's been shown that slime molds can solve traveling salesman problems. You go, wait a second. This is slime mold. This is a hard thing that requires intelligence, but somehow a slime mold can solve the traveling salesman problem? Yes. Okay.
How so?
So now you have to ask yourself, how are they doing it? How are they doing it? Okay. All right. Let me give you another example.
Keep me up, Scotty. I don't know how.
Okay. Well, this is my point. For us to develop computers that have these kinds of capabilities are going to be far advanced compared to the stuff we have right now. Mm-hmm. Just saying, that's why we need more biological intelligence if we're going to create artificial intelligence.
Doesn't Google Maps already do that?
It might, yes, but the point is that you have a life form that's been around for hundreds of millions, maybe even billions of years, and it can already do what we're figuring out how to do now.
As a mold?
A mold, yes, slime mold,
intelligent mold.
Okay, and let me give you another example. Because you got all these cool videos that show you this kind of stuff. So what you had, this was on Reddit, and it was a problem given to some ants. Okay, so what it was a narrow, you had like a wall with a narrow opening, and then they had this, like imagine the capital letter I, right? So you got across the bar thing, and then you're in the bottom. And you had ants working on both sides trying to get this object through that door, which would not normally fit.
Mm-hmm.
But they solved it collectively. It's what you call swarm intelligence.
Okay.
All right. And they did it.
Interesting.
So there had to be some kind of communication between the two of them. They had a shared goal of getting this object through this opening. All these little, how are they, what? Is there ant ESP going on here? We have no idea, okay? But it's another form of biological intelligence. And wouldn't it be great if we could have robots that could do the same thing? Because right now, we don't, okay? We don't.
Well, that's interesting you bring that up, because I'm going to bring up another biological intelligence subject that I've discussed with my son recently and argued about, actually. You know who Jane Goodall is, of course, right?
Yep.
The monkey lady, right?
The monkey lady. It's
The
going to be the
monkey lady.
chimpanzee lady.
Okay,
Chimpanzees are
chimpanzee,
not
monkey.
monkeys.
Okay. The chimpanzee
Chimpanzees are
lady
not
then.
monkeys.
Okay. Well, the chimpanzee we all know is the closest relative to the human, supposedly, right? She spent a lot of her life in Africa, as we know. She passed away not that long ago, just a few years ago, I think. But she spent her whole life in Africa with the chimpanzees. And have you ever heard of? I would have to look it up on Google to remember the name of it. But apparently, at some point in the past, there was a war. What Sun describes as a war between two tribes of chimpanzees
Yes.
that took place in West Africa
Yes.
for a number of years.
Okay.
And according to reports, this war was very much like a human war, with territories taken and retaken, strategies, even undercover spies.
What?
And leaders with ranks and positions.
Okay. Well, there are hierarchical
roles and
to
strategies
begin with. Yes.
that were organized, like according to what he was saying. And
Yes.
my position was there's no way. Now I could see there being what appeared to be like a struggle for territory between two tribes of chimpanzees. I could see that. I would go along with that. I'm not going to go along with different ranks and undercover strategies and that kind of thing. Just doesn't fly with me. And I want to know what you think about that. That was the basis of our disagreement. And I said we got to go read what Jane. I told him, I said, I think since Jane passed away, people have jumped in and exaggerated some of her work. I don't think Jane herself would have approved of such a notion.
Right. Well, we'll have to investigate that.
We'll have to delve into that a little bit more. Yeah.
All right. So let me move into point number 3 here. The field of machine learning is still evolving, which is kind of connected to number 6. Okay. Which is expect wild breakthroughs. All right. But
catastrophic breakthroughs. Can we add that word in there?
You could.
You could.
We'll make catastrophic a subset of wild. How's that? So number 4, though, is very important. Okay. So large language models in particular cannot do or handle A, B, and C. All right.
Okay.
Now, the first one, reasoning with large language models, is a little bit dicey for me because there might be some cases where you could argue that some form of reasoning is taking place. But the problem people have with this is that it's apparent reasoning or linguistic behavior resembling reasoning that is based upon a system driven by probability. Okay, probabilistic comparisons of outputs. That's not reasoning. Okay, so, and again, when we think of reasoning, we think of things that involve logic, right? But again, neural networks have nothing to do with logic. And the way these large language modules work have nothing to do with logic.
No, they're just transmitters.
All right, so there is what appears to be a problem with reasoning. Next thing, of course, is abstraction. I mean, the ability to generalize some image or piece of information and associate with something else in a sensible way would be considered an expression of intelligence. And right now, large language models cannot handle abstraction.
Okay.
I think they can summarize things, but the idea that they could take some piece of information and see that there's some hidden set of relationships with it that forms the abstract basis, no, they ain't got it. And then the worst one of all is novelty. So
that's the worst one. That's where the catastrophe comes in.
Yeah, they can't. So they just
something that. What do you? Let me just make sure we're on the same page with that. What you mean by novelty is things that artificial intelligence comes up with that biological intelligence has not.
No, it's just that if a large language model, let's say I come up with a totally new word, okay, that's novel. The large language model won't know what to do with it. Now, for example, you're taught when you're reading and you don't have, a really good grip on vocabulary, if you come across a word that you don't understand, you quote, read for context. right? You try to look at that word in with respect to the sentence in the paragraph, and then you see if you can kind of figure out what it probably means. All right. So that's a combination of abstraction and reasoning. But if you, and so it can't do that. But then the idea that now you got something totally new and you don't have any framework by which to incorporate this novel information. Right?
Right.
Okay. So, I mean, so another way of thinking about it is if I tell you about, or what was it? What was it you told me about that I hadn't heard of before? I can't remember. But it's the idea that something is new, it's novel, and if you explain it to me, I'll kind of understand it. But I don't think that a large language model would handle it so well. Now, number 5 is also a big one. Okay. There has been discussion about how quantum computing and artificial intelligence can work together, but there's a lot that we don't understand. Or in other words, the type of artificial intelligence that might work with quantum computing is probably going to be very different from what we understand to be artificial intelligence to be right now. Quantum computing, I like to use the examples where there are reports of some labs getting very strange behaviors from their quantum computers that do not fit with any model or form of explanation. Talk about novelty.
Here's an interesting question I just thought of a few days ago, actually, about AI.
Yeah.
I think now a lot of our, as a human being, my intelligence, a lot of it is derived, the information is derived from my senses, from my eyes see, my ears hear, right? Essentially. Now, that's not artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence doesn't gain what, on what level can they grow their intelligence based on their environment like we do? Or can they at all? Is it all based on what we're feeding it and what it does with the data we're feeding it? Or is it actually have optical ability and ways of,
Yeah, so my first reaction is, for what you're talking about, you also have to have something called memory. These large language models do not have any memory. Okay, everything has to be started anew every time you have a query. Although it's interesting, I should qualify that. There has to be some form of memory that's in use, because Eric had, I remember this exercise Eric did, it was brilliant. He had started to ask this large language model some questions relating to, I want to say, religion or belief or faith. I don't remember exactly. But the answer that the model gave was, shall we say, less than satisfactory. And so then Eric came up with a related question that kind of challenged some of its response. It was so weird to watch the large language model backpedal on some of its initial claims when Eric started to pressure it. It happened at least 3 or 4 times. Okay, because every time it came back with an answer, Eric had another line of attack on it, backpedaled again. Another attack, backpedaled again. And it's just, it's, on the one hand, you have to admire the model for its ability to handle this. But, on the other hand, the model was in no position to challenge Eric.
Right.
So that's a whole other thing.
And we have to remember, we're still in pretty much AI 1.0 these days, too. We're still in the very early stages.
Well, all right. Language. All right. Well, let's remember that large language models, which is where most of the discussion is, represents what is actually a small subset of the larger field. Now, one of the things I did not put into that thing here, why don't we pull it up again? Let's put this one to bed. Where are you? I'll bring this one up. Okay, so what I didn't do here, come on. All right. If you imagine what I could have done, all right, I would have done it this way. So left to right, okay, I would have put a very narrow, flat ellipse cutting across everything.
All right.
And that narrow, flat ellipse would be labeled robotics.
Right.
Okay.
Now we're talking about the court diagram for artificial intelligence here.
Yeah. Okay, but so the point is that how we think about robotics in this context, okay, is still
Isn't
something.
robotics just the vehicle?
Sorry?
Robotics is just the vehicle, right?
You see a vehicle, but what's the engine? What's driving it? Okay. And right now the best we have are large language models. So fine. You take all this text output that we see, and now you attach a face to it. And now you're going to go, oh, holy shit, this is getting a little too human. Not so much, not so fast. So you got the other part. What is it? With these
the emotional part.
It's all right. So one of the things, I don't know if you noticed this. So Eric sent me this AI. But anyway, it was a video of a guy who used to work for a company called DEC. Does the name DEC mean anything to you?
No.
All right. So the quick history of computers is you started with mainframes.
Yeah.
Then there was a period from about 1965 to...
The vacuum period?
No.
Oh.
1965 to, I'll say 2000 on the outside, where you had another group of computers called mini computers, right? But while the world of mini computers, so in other words, a small mainframe,
yeah,
very small mainframe, but called a mini computer. So while that was happening, then starting in, it really started in
95. I would go 95.
75. It was 75 when the personal computer started.
Oh.
Okay. So you went from mainframe to mini to PC.
Not many people had a personal computer in 1970, late 70s.
No, but the point is that there are these three very, very different, quote, computing modalities, right? Mainframes took up a whole room, took an army of programmers to maintain, etc. Mini computers, smaller, and only took a couple of people to operate. And so that was more appropriate for a lot of different businesses. And one of the leaders in making these mini computers was a company called DEC, Digital Equipment Corporation. All right. There were about a half dozen or so companies, National Register. I should know some of these other names here. I can't remember. But these guys who were always sort of chasing IBM with their each successive generation of mini computer they're introducing. And while that was going on, the personal computer was taking off to such an extent that by the late 80s, people were talking about using networks of personal computers to replace mainframes. Does that sound familiar at all?
It sounds like what happened.
Well, not really. Mainframes are still very much in use. No, there's certain characteristics of mainframes that just can't be replaced with things like networks or PCs. It might have been in some areas, but not many.
When I was a boy, my father used to work for combustion engineering out in East Granby, and he Saturday mornings he'd pick me up and he'd bring me to work sometimes.
Yeah,
because there was only him in the building pretty much, and I'd run around the building. But he had a mainframe computer in there, and that thing took up the whole room in the basement. It was huge.
Right. Yeah, well, combustion engineering was a huge company too.
So. And they put out these endless streams of dot matrix printing on these wide sheets of paper. I just piled up. I used to think, what in the hell was all that about? And I still wonder what the hell was all about, if you want to be honest with you. I still don't know what the hell they were doing. But.
Well, they would have been probably out printing out, besides reports, there probably were like flow diagrams, schematics, things like that, probably.
But there's such massive piles of them, and they'd be printing the whole Saturday morning with nobody there,
Yeah. And probably data from various tests.
So I assume somebody's reading all that.
Nuclear reactors, combustion engineering used to make the core, if you will.
Yeah, my father worked for them as an engineer.
Oh, there you go. So that explains your love for mathematics. You got it from Daddy.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, okay. So I have made a point or two about that. So maybe we should shift now. See here. What was the other stuff I had put up? Oh yeah, the TrumpTango. So the TrumpTango. There we talk about the TrumpTango. I really don't understand. Okay.
The TrumpTango?
Yes. So let me give you a perfect example. You realize that he's been making a lot of noise about Cuba.
Yes.
Okay. And what did he do? He ordered the USS Nimitz to head to the Caribbean in anticipation of having to settle a few things with Cuba.
Wow.
That would be military action, young man.
Okay. Well, you know what? At this point,
hold on. There's more. There's more.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. No sooner does he send Nimitz in that direction than he says publicly, well, you know, I think there's some ways that we can work well with Cuba, and I think we're in a good position to actually help Cuba.
Like a deal.
Hey, a second. You're sending a carrier in the direction you're talking about helping Cuba? What? I'm not following this. Okay. Then on top of that, yeah, belated, but you hear about the Department of Justice lawsuit brought against Raul.
Yes, and his indictment.
Yeah.
It's not a lawsuit, it's an indictment, right?
Sorry?
It's not just a lawsuit, they're indicting him.
Yes, they are indicting him, which will, probably he'll be tried in absentia most likely. But yeah, so the evidence is there for this, that they killed some innocent people who are doing a humanitarian run in an airplane between Cuba and Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, this we considered almost like a war crime in a way. So yes, and it's all right. So you got that, the carrier talking about helping them. Yeah, okay. Maybe I'm missing a few pieces here. Just saying.
I'm still obviously still in favor of everything that Trump's doing. I love Trump, but here's the thing.
Yes.
And real quick, I know we haven't touched on Iran yet. I got to touch on it here.
Yes.
I feel like we're losing the war in Iran.
So here's my hypothetical question for you.
Mm-hmm.
If you could save 1,000 lives by waiting longer rather than acting now, would you wait?
Yes. However,
okay.
There's the if statement in that question is huge. So I don't believe we're saving any lives by waiting.
No.
I think we're losing more lives by waiting.
Well,
whatever one or two we lose while Iran attacks other nations, it continues to wage the war while we sit back and do a ceasefire.
Right. Well, the other component,
they're still fighting. We're at a ceasefire. That's what's happening.
All right.
Am I wrong?
One of the things I didn't get to mention last night was the report about looks like the Iranian army and the IRGC ain't getting along so well after all.
Great.
Okay.
The point. Okay.
We had attacks in 3 cities.
What was Trump's objective when he announced the war in February? And where are we at now? And you tell me if we're winning or losing.
I don't understand. All right.
4 or 5 weeks.
That is an illegal. That is an illogical.
What do you mean? Trump came on the air in February and announced we were starting this war, and in a few weeks we were going to have basically the people of Iran were going to be able to come out of their hiding.
Yeah.
And we were going to be rid of the mullah essentially in 5 weeks. And where are we now compared to what was that announcement? Okay. I know it was a public announcement. Where are we now? Now we don't have the people are still afraid to come out. The mullahs are still in charge, and they've managed to block the Strait of Hormuz, which was not talked about in February.
That's correct.
Okay, so and we're not fighting them. They're still shooting at our allies.
Okay, so one of the things.
How are we winning this war?
Okay, there's a response to every point you've raised.
Okay.
The Strait of Hormuz. Okay. Yes, it's true. There's a lot of stuff that gets shipped through the Strait of Hormuz, not just oil. Okay.
Correct. Fertilizer being one of them, by the way.
Yeah. Another big one is helium.
Yep.
You know, who knew? But helium is important for our economy in a lot of ways. Okay. All right. All of that is true.
But we're having choices without helium.
Yeah. Cute. There are alternative sources for many of these things. Yes, prices would have to go up. Yes, it would be harder to deliver some of these things, but the world is able to still continue without a lot of what has.
And that's my point. Iran has won this war. I guess we can do it without them. We'll all pay higher prices.
That doesn't mean they've won the war.
Well, they're winning it now.
No, the point.
Yes, they are.
No. The
How
opposite.
are they not winning it?
The opposite.
Where's our objective? Where are we now compared to what our objective was when the war started?
You have Iran believing they are holding all the cards by being able to control the Strait of Hormuz. But if we're able to meet our needs through other sources, that makes the Strait of Hormuz less important, and their
Gas
cards
was $2.50 a gallon. Now it's $5 a gallon. So how are we meeting our needs here? How is that? What's happening there with that? Okay. I don't think we've met. I don't believe we've in any way substituted for the Strait of Hormuz right now at all.
Mm-hmm. Well, you've stated a belief.
No, I don't see the prices aren't indicating that of things.
All right. If I were to go back here,
and here's another thing.
All right,
why should we, as the most powerful nation in the world with our allies, have to give up on the Strait of Hormuz and look for other means? That in itself is an Iran victory. Oh, I guess we can't use the Strait of Hormuz. We'll have to find other ways.
It's a victory. It's a small one.
While people who can't afford it keep spending another $200 or $300 a month on gasoline, I guess we can afford it. I guess that's not a small victory. They've affected our economy.
All right. I wish
and they've got the people, a lot of MAGA people upset about it too.
Okay.
So in terms of the president's, the people backing the president in this war, Iran's winning that one too. Those numbers are going away from Trump little by little. And the longer they can just prosecute this thing and continue this.
I'm looking at a chart here.
You're the one that brought up George Washington and how he won by attrition. That's what they're doing.
It's not the same. If I could show this chart, hold on.
It's funny how we reverse the argument now.
If I could show this chart to you that I'm looking at right now.
Okay.
There are 1, 2. Where is this now? 3. Yeah, there are 3 times in the past where oil prices were higher than they are now. 3.
Not in this state.
Yeah, no, in the world.
Oh, in the world. Okay, barrel, right.
The peak of oil prices was $127 a barrel back in May of 2008. Okay. Then another high was 106 in June of 2014. And then the other high was 114.
Let me ask you this fundamental question. Do you think we can make a deal?
July of 2022.
Do you think we can make a deal with Iran to end the yes, we can probably make a deal with Iran to end the 3-month struggle. But can we make a deal with Iran to end the 47-year struggle?
No.
No, of course not. So why are we farting around?
All right. Again,
we're not going to save 1,000 lives by waiting, is my point.
All right. Well, I would suggest that you are not paying nearly enough attention to the human cost that a true all-out war would impose.
We're going to need, that's my point, we're going to need a true all-out war. It's got to happen. It's not going to. So why wait? If we're going to do it, if we're going to take the hit now or later, the longer we wait, the more we give.
It's not just Americans, okay? The people who are going to suffer the most are going to be the Iranians, all right? But the point is, and again, I go back to my earlier question, which is a model here for consideration. I'll rephrase my question in another way. If you have, in this case, let's say 2 options, okay? Option 1, act quickly, have uncertain results, and impose a great cost. Option 2, act slowly, build a strong foundation with a lesser loss of human life, any human life. Okay, so
by waiting, we're going to save lives. How would submit that by waiting, we're allowing Iran to regroup and therefore become much harder to destroy as time goes on?
Well, no, yes, that's true, but the other part is true as well, which is the building up the resistance forces. And it isn't just the resistance forces, by the way. Do not underestimate PSYOPs, okay? Do not underestimate the ability to, I'm going to say it, plant stories, create confusion, misdirection, misinformation within the population,
all right, maybe
the
I'm
military.
falling for some of that. Who knows?
What?
Maybe I'm falling for a little bit of that.
Falling?
Yeah, maybe I'm falling for a little bit of that. What you're saying is Trump is got other plans that he's not saying publicly. Like
Well,
he knows that. He knows that.
No, it's what's happening now. Okay. This report about how you have the Artesh fighting the IRGC when they're supposed to be working together would be predicated on some period of time here where our people have figured out ways to, quote, divide and conquer.
Wouldn't it be nice if a few bombs going off in the right place among all this confusion? That'd probably help push things along, wouldn't it?
That's for show. Okay. You have to ask yourself.
Bombing? How about instead of doing 13,000
more? You have to ask yourself what's going to get the best results. By the way, this argument also applies to what's going on in Mexico. All right. We're very upset with these drug cartels. We're upset with all the drugs that are being brought into this country, that's killing Americans. Okay. So we have a reason to be upset with it. We're angry that nothing has been done for a long time. So we expect action. So our first expectation is that, yeah, damn it, we're going to send the military in there. We're going to send in the Green Berets and the CIA and the SEALs and the Delta Force, and they're all going to kill out all those cartels, and that will be the end of that.
It's not quite that simple in Mexico. It's not quite the same thing.
Well, no. It's
the Mexican government is technically an ally, technically. Okay. Very technically. But
they're relying on, quote, violence on its own merits to do the job. And that may not be the best answer. The best answer instead is going to be a clever disassembling, okay, of these groups of people. All right. So, I mean, you and I may look at, all right, I'm going to use a baseball analogy. Get ready. The baseball analogy. Now, this is a strange way I think. I admit it. But the idea that there's some analogy between contact hitters in baseball and drug cartels will become clear in a few seconds.
Okay.
Yes. All right. So your middle level managers in an organization are like your contact hitters. Okay? Take out the contact hitters. What have you got?
A bunch of home run swing and missers.
Yeah. And how's that going to turn out? Not great. Not great. Especially if you don't have your contact hitters.
Well, you're going to strike out a lot, but you're going to hit a lot of home runs. So it just depends on how that works out. Usually not very good.
Yeah. So how does that work out? I mean, you got the guy. No, the point is the contact hitters.
Unless you're the 77 Yankees. Unless you're the 77 Yankees, then no, it doesn't work out very well.
All right.
Worked out well for the 77.
But you understand how they have to work together. You need the contact hitter
to
really help the slugger get results. And if the contact hitter hasn't got people on base, great. So you got a bunch of solo home runs. Big deal.
So what you're saying is the cartels and their fancy houses in Mexico won't have any power if you destroy all their middle management.
Because that's what's happening right now. All right. You don't hear about it because it's not big, it's not lurid, it's not fancy, it's not all the explosive stuff.
Okay, well, that's great to hear. Now I can go to bed tonight with visions of sugar plums dancing in my head.
No.
I can play my music.
But, okay.
All right, so are we ready to quit, or you got something else in your mind before we go? We're way over anyway here.
I'm pretty much. Let me say, I just want to double check here. So we've talked about Mexico Madness, the TrumpTango, and AI. So we've hit my 3 high points, and I just hope other people, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. I would say that at least 80 to 90% of the stuff that you and I talk about here are worthy of other people listening and learning.
So don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yeah, that too. Both of us. So
we have the logo. We're getting the we got to talk about studio.
Yeah, but okay, I'll just tell you, as I've been sitting here watching the views on YouTube, okay, I've seen it get as high as 5. It went down to 4. It dropped to 1. It's now back up to 3. So you have these people hopping on and off and deciding whether or not we're worth listening to. Oh, we are eminently worth listening to if you stick around long enough.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, there's a clue if there ever was one.
And this is just the common sense part of the news part of the network. We haven't even gotten to the entertainment part yet. So,
well, yeah, okay. It's got to start somewhere. Which, by the way, gets.
You know what I need? You know what I really need, though.
What?
I need a personal secretary in the worst way.
What's wrong? Well,
I need someone to run around with me all the time with a little notepad and paper and an iPhone, and just be like, okay, call these people, take my calls. Whatever. I just need the calls and the emails I get all day just take up so much of my time.
Wait a second. Aren't there Hold on a second. Not so fast, boy.
I need a personal assistant.
Here we go. AI agents who act
I do need a personal assistant.
personal assistants.
What's this? What are you typing now?
Okay. Base44.com. Right? There's two. 59 FIVE and then the number 9. So you got two. You got base44.com and the number 5. And then there's another one, Capterra. All right. So look, if you just here, I'm going to send this to you. All right.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Okay. And there should be something there.
I'll look at it.
That will be of value to you. And now, in exchange, sir, I would hope that you would send me that personal roster of 150 memes you've accumulated.
I will do that. I will absolutely do that.
All right. Okay.
I'm going to get you one better. I'm going to get you to log into the network, which has all the profiles and the roster on it.
Yeah. Even better. All right. So, and by the way, I mean, all of this, which we're going to talk about offline for the events, you know, part 1 is planning the event itself, right? But part 2 is going to be promotion. And for promotion, in my mind, at least, there are 2 components, which is the social media part, but then these email lists that we've accumulated, all right? And to spread the word out through these email lists. And the numbers are considerable.
Yep.
Okay? Between I've got, we're looking at several thousand here.
Okay.
For openers.
I'm moving into the studio now, so I'm losing my studio time.
Who's in your studio time?
Yeah, I got to go.
Oh, you got to go. Okay. All right. All right. Later and good night to all.
Good night, everybody, for Common Sense News Entertainment.
Yeah.
And don't forget, the fight is always between the state and the family. Goodbye, everybody.
You got that right.